Hey guys, it's History Behind the Warrior and welcome to another video. Now it's been a long time since I've actually done one of these, but seeing as we did get news yesterday because we had EVO going on over the weekend and we got some crazy reveals and news, let's talk about the one that surprised me the most. After the EVO top 8 for Tekken 7, the heads of the Tekken series Michael Murray and Harada came on stage and they very graciously presented to us all a season 2 for Tekken 7, meaning that we're going to get another year's worth of DLC, and this time it looks like we're going to be getting a lot of the characters we did ask for like the first year's worth of DLC. But of course those were originally guest characters. Sorry, I just had to readjust my camera a little bit because it decided to tip over. Thanks camera. But going back to it, yesterday we got a reveal for year 2 of Tekken 7 and it opened up in a great way, and it kind of goes to show that they have been taking our reception back into account. Yesterday of course we had the very beautiful reveal of Anna, who will be back in the game very soon, and on top of this we get the return of a character that many people have been asking for, Lei Wulong. I will have to say, when it comes to his redesign however, the years have not been kind to Lei. He looks a little bit washed up, I'm not gonna lie. But let's face it, that's not the main reason why you're here. The main reason why you're here is because of this guy.
Little pig, let me in.
The guest teaser of Negan, which is something I don't feel like anyone was expecting at all. It's so incredibly out of field from what I'd expect from Tekken when it comes to guest DLC. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing though. Now I will put my personal biases aside as I don't want it to be affecting this video, but after watching that reveal, I really did think to myself, why Negan? Why Negan of all characters? You had a plethora of different fighting game characters, or even from like Noctis's involvement, different characters from different games in general you could have like be involved in Tekken. So why Negan? Well, let's talk about the big reason as to why I personally believe Negan is being put in Tekken 7. In order for me to do that though, I'm gonna need to catch you guys up with a little bit of The Walking Dead and talk about how this does relate to Tekken 7 down the line. Now despite what many people do actually believe, as they were probably introduced to this form of medium first, The Walking Dead isn't an original form of media that AMC did create. It's instead a very loose adaptation of a comic book created back in 2003 by two writers known as Robert Kirkman and Tony Moore. Now from what you can tell, their comics were quite successful and did bring in a lot of traction. This understandably caught the eyes and attention of AMC, and thus they decided to get the TV rights in order to make a series. And to guarantee that this would be a success, they would hire Frank Darabont. Now for those of you who aren't too familiar with that name, Frank is a well-renowned director throughout the entirety of Hollywood. He's worked on masterpieces like The Shawshank Redemption and Green Mile. So yeah, in short, this man's kind of the shit. And considering that you're gonna get this guy to like start up your series, it's a really strong foundation for what can come. Now let's face it, we're in 2018. We know how successful this show actually is. However, is it really kind of due to the quality of the show and how good it is? I can't help but feel that's not entirely the case. You see, I believe that The Walking Dead is a show that just so happened to be at the right place at the right time. You see, during the creation of The Walking Dead season 1, the whole zombie movie monster genre was kind of on a boom. Like when we used to have the Saw films and it was that whole kind of gore porn trend thing. It quickly kind of moved over to zombies before it got to really shitty handheld footage camera film. But my point is, the whole zombie movie film craze absolutely exploded the genre. You had zombie t-shirts, zombie mugs, zombie video games, zombie movies. It was kind of everywhere, except for one place: your own home television screen. So that's understandably why AMC picked it up in the first place. They knew that if they picked it up at this point in time and had the right people behind it, then they'd be cashing in on a cow and filling their pockets up to their eyes. But here's the somewhat fun thing and moral of the story. This greedy attitude would lead up to ultimately the decline of viewership in the series. Anyway, let's go back to Frank Darabont. Basically, when he was putting the show together, he got all of his close friends into it. Many people you actually see him work on in this series are people he's actually worked with before in his film. And because there was such a tight-knit connection between the cast, and the fact that Frank Darabont is such a high-esteemed director, AMC saw this and decided to invest some money into it to make sure that the episodes that were put out were at a high and good standard for television. And of course, as we all know, it did boom, and AMC made a ton of money. Now after the success of the first season, AMC decided to change the show's format. Instead of 6 episodes, there now would be 13, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it means that they want to see more episodes and that way you can keep people coming back again. However, the first sign of greed is the fact that they kind of cut the budget. Why? Because they're greedy. You can see in the entirety of season 2 from a production standpoint, the show takes a dip in quality. Zombie makeup doesn't look as good anymore. A lot of episodes are filled with unnecessary drama and stuff to kind of pad out the season, and it is just kind of clogged with filler. And Frank understandably was kind of discouraged with continuing the series. So what does AMC decide to do with the guy that really helped put this series on the map for them? They fired him, and because of that actually Frank proceeded to sue them for how ridiculous and absolutely insane they are. Now really, after Frank left the project, stuff kind of spirals out of control. The show from season to season jumps from director to director, and there's different plot threads that start and different ones that don't finish and ones that collide. It becomes a mess because not one person is trying to construct a story, and thus they rely on the source material so that way they can kind of go through the motion. Now I'm not going to pretend it's all gloom and doom from that point onwards, because the show still did do extremely well. Really, the series peaked at season 5, but retained an average of 14 million viewers per episode, which is really damn good. However, as I've mentioned, as it goes from director to director, there's definitely a dip and decline in quality. You can slowly but surely see the viewership start to dip. We right now are on the cusp of season 9 of The Walking Dead, and from what we've seen, season 8 didn't do particularly too well, bringing in only 7.8 million viewers on the average basis, compared to its season 5 counterpart, which like I said was 14.4 million. So right now it's the lowest it's been in years, going back to the dates of even season 2. And with many of the main characters either being pasted, I had to use that phrase and I had to use Glenn, I'm not sorry, many dying like Carl, and really the main character of this series, Rick, which is portrayed by Andrew Lincoln, actually walking away from the role after the end of this season, I can sense not only AMC executives, but basically anyone that's associated with the Walking Dead brand trying to squeeze as much blood as they can from this stone before it's finally dry. Basically, right now the Walking Dead series isn't looking too great, and it's most certainly right now a hollow shell of what it used to be. So if I was a sleazy executive who wanted to make more money, what other forms of demographic could I reach out to in order to, you know, do such a thing? The video game industry. I believe this is a gateway and another option they're trying to explore to actually make more money from this series at this point. Not that I necessarily blame them, because the video game industry does make a lot of money. And to kind of solidify my point, there's a new Walking Dead game coming out later this year. So by keeping that in mind, what can we say about the whole Tekken cross Walking Dead thing? Well, honestly, I think it's a massive cross-brand promotion deal that they're kind of doing together, where AMC will be able to feature their new video game, as well as promote it with a recognizable face in the video game industry to appeal to that genre of gamers, and even that age demographic as a whole. And since Tekken has been around for such a long amount of time, it is a recognizable brand, so people will kind of be attracted to it. That's the whole purpose of cross-promotion, to create buzz and create attention about both brands, while simultaneously getting you to buy into them both. They did it with MKX with the plethora of horror film characters they had, so that same idea and concept is being planted here. However, there are some slight differences here. Tekken is using AMC as a pedestal to kind of expand their game, get it out to more people, get more people looking in. That's how you branch and you network. So if we're going to compare the two here, I'm gonna say that Tekken is doing it for the passion and the gamers. Yes, there is going to be money, there's no doubt about that, but the Tekken community is definitely a very passionate one, whereas AMC, from what I've clearly displayed here, is an extremely greedy company. They would rob you blind if they had the opportunity to do so. So this whole scenario is being created as a cross promotion between these two brands, one in order to create more buzz around the Walking Dead series, as right now it's not doing great, and two, Tekken is doing it so that way they can be put out into the more mainstream eye, which means a bigger scene, more players, more characters, and more DLC in the future. So that's what I personally believe is going on with Negan's involvement in Tekken 7, because let's face it, at this point it's safe to say that I've kind of asserted that guest characters are just a marketing tactic at this point. But yeah, that is actually kind of it for this video, guys. Sorry for the buttload of information I did have to drop on you guys here, but I needed to talk about it as the Negan reveal is actually ridiculous. Personally myself, I have no care for the character, nor do I have a care for the series at this point. I watched up to season 5 a very long time ago and just dropped off from it, so I myself have no care with the character's involvement here. But me saying that, how do you guys feel about this? As guest characters go in fighting games, do you find this weird, or is it just me that finds it really odd? I want to hear what everyone has to say. And plus, Negan's involvement isn't exactly going to be the end of the world, as we're going to get some other DLC characters later down the line. I say that the only character that I want to see right now is this one. So personally for me, Season 2 is already all sorted out. Anyway guys, that's actually it for now. Now before this video wraps up, if possible, let's try getting it to about 500 likes. It's a great way of helping out this channel since YouTube's ad system is broken as hell. By giving it a thumbs up, it helps out a ton. And if you want to go the extra step, we also have a Patreon set up, and a link for it will be down in the description below. Anyway guys, as always, please comment, like, subscribe, and share this video with everyone you know. Please take care, and I'll see you all next time.